The transmission crackled through every communication device on Earth simultaneously. Television screens, radio waves, smartphone displays, even emergency broadcasts in remote villages all carried the same imposing image. Emperor Vex of the Dominion Empire sat upon his crystalline throne, his scaled features twisted in what humans could only interpret as supreme arrogance. Primitive species of the third planet. His voice resonated with mechanical translation, each word dripping with disdain. I am Emperor Vex, ruler of 47 star systems and conqueror of countless worlds. Your pathetic civilization has been marked for absorption into my empire. Admiral Kane watched the broadcast from the Pentagon Situation Room, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. Around the table, world leaders shifted uncomfortably as the alien emperor continued his monologue. You have 30 of your days to surrender unconditionally. Disarm your militaries, abandon your governments, and prepare for servitude. Resist, and my war fleets will reduce your world to ash and bone. You have seen what happened to the Kelton Republic, the Marsh Confederacy, and the proud warriors of Theta Prime. All fell before the might of the Dominion. The Emperor leaned forward, his reptilian eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. Your scouts have reported your capabilities. Primitive chemical rockets, crude nuclear weapons, scattered orbital installations. You are insects pretending to be eagles. Submit now, and some of you may live as slaves. Resist, and you will join the countless species that thought themselves mighty until they faced true power. The transmission ended, leaving the room in stunned silence. President Hayes broke the quiet first, her voice barely steady. Admiral, tell me we have options. Kane turned from the screen, and for the first time since the broadcast began, he smiled. It wasn't the expression of a desperate man facing impossible odds. It was the cold, calculating smile of a predator who had just been underestimated. Mr. President, with respect, Emperor Vex made one critical error in his intelligence gathering. Kane activated the room's holographic display, showing the solar system dotted with seemingly empty space. He assumed our scouts told him everything. The display shifted, revealing hidden installations throughout the asteroid belt, concealed shipyards behind Jupiter's moons, and massive construction platforms in the shadow of Saturn. What had appeared empty was actually teeming with activity. For the past 20 years, since we first detected signals from the Dominion's expansion, we've been preparing. Not openly, not obviously, but thoroughly. Kane's fingers danced across the control panel, and the hidden installations came alive with activity. Our primitive civilization has been busy, Mr. President. Secretary of Defense Martinez leaned forward, eyes wide. Kane, what exactly are we looking at? Project Prometheus, sir. While the Emperor's scouts saw our surface military intentionally outdated displays meant to maintain the illusion of weakness, they missed our real preparations. Shipyards that make anything in Earth's public fleet look like toys. Weapon systems that incorporate technology reverse-engineered from every alien signal we've intercepted over 2 decades. Manufacturing capabilities that have been ramping up in complete secrecy. Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Sci-fi stellar conflict is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you're hungry for HFY battles and tales of human valor against alien might, hit subscribe, it's free, and it helps us bring these front lines to you. Kane pulled up another display showing massive vessels under construction, their hulls bristling with weapons that gleamed with unfamiliar energy signatures. Emperor Vex called us insects pretending to be eagles. He's about to learn that humans have a different relationship with underestimation than most species. President Hayes stood, her initial fear replaced by steely determination. Admiral, I'm authorizing full activation of Prometheus. How long until we can respond? Mr. President, Kane replied, his smile widening. We've been ready to respond since the day we started this project. The Emperor wanted 30 days. He's going to get his answer much sooner than that. Across the solar system, hidden facilities began powering up, their energy signatures carefully masked by gravitational shadows and sensor-dampening fields. Humanity's true military might was awakening, and Emperor Vex was about to discover that his 47 conquered star systems had taught him nothing about the species that called soul home. The countdown to humanity's response had begun. and it would be measured not in days, but in hours. Captain Ross stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching through reinforced viewports as the final components of the massive warship were installed. The vessel stretched for nearly 2 kilometers, its hull a masterwork of human engineering that incorporated lessons learned from analyzing wreckage of dozens of alien encounters over the past 2 decades. "Captain, we're receiving activation codes from Admiral Kane," Lieutenant Foster reported from the communications station. "All Prometheus sites are going active simultaneously." Ross nodded, feeling the familiar weight of command settle on his shoulders. Around him, the bridge crew moved with practiced precision, their training finally put to the ultimate test. Through the viewport, he could see similar vessels emerging from their concealment throughout the asteroid belt, humanity's first line of defense, hidden where no alien scout would think to look thoroughly. Meanwhile, on Mars, Major Bell supervised the launch preparations for the Red Squadron. Her pilots were the best humanity had ever produced, trained on fighters that incorporated gravitational manipulation drives and energy, weapons that could punch through traditional shielding like paper through water. The Dominion scouts had seen Earth's atmospheric fighters primitive, jets that looked appropriately weak for a developing civilization. They had no idea about the spacecraft waiting in Martian launch bays. "Major, we're showing green across all systems," Sergeant Murphy called from the Launch Control Center. 200 fighters ready for deployment, all equipped with the new plasma cannons and phase shift capabilities. Bell smiled grimly as she watched her pilots running final checks. Each fighter was a technological marvel that represented years of secret development, powered by fusion cores that made traditional nuclear reactors look like campfires. The Dominion had conquered 47 star systems, but they had never faced humanity's particular brand of adaptive warfare. Back on Earth, Admiral Kane coordinated the most complex military operation in human history from the Underground Command Center beneath Colorado. Holographic displays showed the positions of every Prometheus asset throughout the solar system, from the massive battle stations hidden in Jupiter's radiation shadow to the stealth reconnaissance ships already moving toward the edge of Dominion space. "Admiral, we're receiving confirmation from all sector commanders," Commander Park reported. "Deep space monitoring shows the Dominion's advanced scouts are 3 days out. From Earth, their main fleet is still 7 days behind them," Kane studied the tactical display, his mind racing through calculations and contingencies. "Perfect. Emperor Vex is being cautious, sending scouts to confirm our weakness before committing his main force. He's about to learn that human tactical doctrine doesn't include showing all your cards until it's time to collect the pot." The Prometheus stations throughout the outer system were humanity's secret manufacturing centers, capable of producing warships at a rate that would stagger any observer. For 20 years, they had been building vessels and stockpiling weapons while maintaining the careful illusion that Earth's military capabilities were limited to what alien observers could easily detect. On Europa, Dr. Wells supervised the final calibrations of the gravity weapon systems that would serve as humanity's ultimate equalizer. The technology had been theoretical until intercepted Dominion communications revealed their ships' vulnerability to gravitational distortion. Now humanity possessed weapons that could create localized gravity wells, strong enough to crush enemy vessels or fling them out of normal space entirely. "Doctor, the resonance chambers are showing optimal alignment," her assistant, Dr. Kim, reported. "We can generate gravity fields equivalent to small stellar masses for short durations." Wells nodded with satisfaction. The Dominion Empire had conquered through overwhelming force and superior numbers, but they had never encountered an enemy that could manipulate the fundamental forces of physics as weapons. Human ingenuity had taken the observations of their own scientists and transformed them into instruments of war. Throughout the solar system, other commanders were making their final preparations. Colonel Travis oversaw the deployment of automated defense platforms that could disguise themselves as asteroids or space debris until activated. Captain Morris commanded the stealth fleet that would serve as humanity's eyes and ears, gathering intelligence while remaining completely undetectable to Dominion sensors. As the hours ticked by, Emperor Vex's advanced scouts moved closer to Earth, confident in their mission to confirm the helplessness of another primitive species. They had no way of knowing that every movement was being tracked by sensors they couldn't detect, that their every communication was being intercepted and analyzed by artificial intelligences, specifically designed to exploit Dominion weaknesses. Admiral Kane reviewed the final deployment orders, knowing that in 72 hours, Emperor Vex would receive a response to his ultimatum that would shatter every assumption the Dominion Empire had made about humanity. The storm was gathering, and it would fall upon the aliens with the full fury of a species that had spent 2 decades preparing for exactly this moment. The Emperor had asked for surrender. Humanity was about to show him what defiance looked like, when backed by unlimited determination and secret preparation. The 3 Dominion scout ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, their sleek hulls gleaming with the confidence of an empire that had never met meaningful resistance. Commander Thack reviewed his orders on the bridge of the lead vessel, the Subjugator, while his subordinates prepared scanning equipment designed to catalog humanity's pathetic defenses. "Begin deep scans of the 3rd planet," Thack ordered, his clawed hands manipulating holographic controls. Emperor Vex wants confirmation of their weakness before the main fleet arrives. This should be routine. What Thack didn't realize was that his ships had been detected the moment they entered normal space. Hidden sensors throughout the outer system tracked their every movement, while adaptive camouflage kept humanity's true assets invisible to Dominion scanning technology. Captain Ross watched the alien scouts from the bridge of the Defiance, still concealed within the asteroid belt. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Chun, monitored the enemy vessels with equipment that far exceeded anything the aliens suspected humans possessed. "Captain, the scouts are maintaining standard formation, approximately 50,000 kilometers apart. Their shields are active but at minimum power. They're not expecting resistance." Ross activated his communication system, connecting to Admiral Kane's command center. "Admiral, the fish are in the net. Requesting permission to spring the trap." Kane's voice crackled through the secure channel. "Permission granted, Captain. Show them what happens when they underestimate humanity. All units, execute operation." First strike. The battle began not with the massive exchanges of fire that characterized most space conflicts, but with a demonstration of human tactical innovation that left the Dominion scouts reeling. Captain Morris's stealth ships, invisible to alien sensors, appeared behind the enemy formation simultaneously, their weapons already charged and targeted. The Phantom materialized directly above the Subjugator, its phase cannons firing at point-blank range. The energy beams, designed specifically to overload Dominion shielding through harmonic frequency manipulation, punched through the alien vessel's defenses like they were paper. Commander Thack had barely enough time to register the attack before his ship's main systems began failing. "Impossible," Thack gasped, watching his tactical displays fill with error messages. "How are they masking their ships? Our sensors show nothing." His question was answered by the appearance of 2 more human vessels, the Shadow and the Mirage, flanking his remaining escorts. The alien ships tried to maneuver, but their tactical doctrine had never accounted for enemies that could appear and disappear at will while maintaining devastating firepower. Major Bell's fighter squadrons joined the engagement next, their craft emerging from concealment among the asteroids like a swarm of deadly insects. But these weren't the primitive atmospheric fighters the Dominion's intelligence had cataloged. Each vessel moved with impossible agility, powered by gravitational manipulation drives that allowed them to change direction without regard for traditional physics. "Red leader to all squadrons," Bell's voice carried over the tactical channel. "Target their weapon systems first. Let's show them how Earth pilots handle overconfident invaders." The human fighters moved in perfect coordination, their plasma cannons striking with surgical precision. Where Dominion doctrine called for massive overwhelming force, human tactics emphasized speed, accuracy, and the element of surprise. Within minutes, the alien scouts found their offensive capabilities systematically dismantled by an enemy they had thought barely capable of. SPAC, EFLIG, HT. Commander Thack tried desperately to send a warning to the main fleet, but Dr. Wells's gravity weapon installations throughout the outer system were already disrupting hyperspace communications. Every time the aliens attempted to transmit, gravitational distortions scrambled their signals into meaningless static. "Sir, "We cannot reach the Emperor," his communications officer reported with growing panic. "Something is interfering with our hyperspace transmitters. The distortions are unlike anything in our databases." Ross watched the engagement unfold with grim satisfaction. The Dominion scouts were learning the first lesson of human warfare. Adaptation was humanity's greatest strength. Every alien conflict humanity had observed of the past 20 years had been studied, analyzed, and countered. The Empire's tactics were predictable because they had worked against every previous enemy. Humanity was different. The final phase of the engagement began when Captain Ross brought the Defiance out of concealment, its massive bulk emerging from behind an asteroid like a mountain coming to life. The Dominion scouts had expected to face chemical rockets and crude nuclear weapons. Instead, they found themselves confronting a warship that incorporated the best of human engineering enhanced with 20 years of secret technological development. "This is Captain Ross of the Earth Defense Force," he transmitted on all frequencies. "You came here expecting to find helpless primitives. Instead, you found humans. Surrender now, and you'll live to report back to your Emperor. Continue fighting, and you'll become the first casualties of his greatest mistake." Commander Thack stared at the massive human warship, its weapons ports glowing with energy signatures his instruments couldn't identify. Around him, his bridge crew looked to him for orders, but the situation had moved far beyond anything their training had prepared them for. The Dominion Empire had conquered 47 star systems by crushing resistance before it could develop. They had never encountered a species that had spent decades preparing for exactly this confrontation, a civilization that had used the Empire's own arrogance as a weapon against them. The first blood of the conflict had been drawn, and it belonged to humanity. Emperor Vex paced the command deck of his flagship, the Imperial Dominion, his scaled features twisted with rage as he processed the impossible reports from his advanced scouts. The few garbled transmissions that had made it through the gravitational interference painted a picture that challenged everything the Empire knew about human capabilities. "How many ships did they encounter?" Vex demanded of his intelligence commander, General Korth. "The reports are fragmented, Your Majesty, but it appears to be at least 12 human vessels of unknown configuration, plus fighter squadrons using technology that shouldn't exist for a species at their development level." Vex's claws scraped against the deck plating as he contemplated this unexpected development. His empire had built its reputation on overwhelming force, backed by superior technology. No species had ever managed to surprise his scouts, let alone defeat them outright. "Bring the fleet out of hyperspace early," he commanded. "If these humans have hidden capabilities, I want to crush them before they can coordinate further resistance." What Emperor Vex couldn't know was that Admiral Kane had anticipated exactly this response. The defeat of the scout ships had been carefully orchestrated, not just to eliminate the immediate threat, but to provoke the main Dominion fleet into advancing before they were fully prepared for what awaited them. Across the solar system, humanity's true strength was finally revealing itself. The Defiance and her sister ships were only the beginning of the forces that had been secretly prepared over 2 decades of careful planning. From behind Jupiter's largest moon, the battle station Olympus powered up its massive engines, beginning its journey toward the inner system. The station was larger than any ship the Dominion had ever constructed, its hull bristling with weapons that incorporated every tactical advantage human ingenuity could devise. Captain Foster stood on its command deck, coordinating with similar installations throughout the outer planets. "All stations report ready for convergence," she announced to Admiral Kane's command center. "The Olympus, Valhalla, and Elysium are move in to intercept positions." Combined firepower exceeds anything in Dominion databases by a factor of 12. Meanwhile, Colonel Travis's automated defense platforms were emerging from their concealment throughout the asteroid belt, transforming from innocent-looking space debris into formidable weapons emplacements. Each platform was equipped with artificial intelligence systems designed to coordinate with human commanders while adapting to enemy tactics in real time. The true scale of humanity's preparation became apparent as hundreds of vessels began converging on Earth's position from every corner of the solar system. Ships that had been built in secret shipyards, powered by fusion reactors that made Dominion technology look primitive, crewed by personnel who had trained for For exactly this scenario, Dr. Wells supervised the final calibrations of the gravity weapon network that would serve as humanity's tactical ace in the hole. The installations could create gravitational anomalies that would disrupt enemy formations, while leaving human ships unaffected, thanks to specialized shielding that had been developed specifically for this conflict. "Admiral, we're showing massive hyperspace signatures," Commander Park reported from the monitoring station. "The Dominion main fleet is dropping out of hyperspace ahead of schedule. Count is approximately 200 vessels of various configurations." Kane studied the tactical display, watching as Emperor Vex's fleet materialized in space between Mars and Earth. The alien formation was impressive by any traditional measure. Sleek warships that had conquered dozens of star systems, arranged in battle patterns that had never failed against previous enemies. "All units, execute Operation Convergence," Kane commanded. "Show them what humanity looks like when we stop hiding." The response was immediate and overwhelming. From every direction, human vessels began appearing as their concealment systems powered down. The Dominion fleet found themselves surrounded by a force that defied every calculation they had made about human capabilities. Captain Ross brought the Defiance and the asteroid fleet directly at the enemy formation from one side, while Major Bell's expanded fighter squadrons emerged from concealment among the planets themselves. Dr. Wells's gravity weapons created distortion fields that disrupted Dominion sensors, while Colonel Travis's automated platforms provided a network of crossfire that eliminated traditional tactical options. But the true shock came when the battle stations arrived. The Olympus, Valhalla, and Elysium emerged from behind planetary masses like moving mountains, their weapon systems charging with energy signatures that made even the largest Dominion vessels look insignificant by comparison. Emperor Vex stood frozen on his command deck as the tactical displays showed his fleet completely surrounded by forces that shouldn't exist. 200 Dominion warships faced nearly 500 human vessels, supported by installations that could manipulate gravity itself as a weapon. "Your Majesty," General Korth reported with barely controlled panic, "our sensors are detecting energy signatures that exceed our understanding of human technology." "How is this possible?" Vex stared at the displays, finally beginning to understand the magnitude of his miscalculation. The intelligence reports had shown him a primitive species with crude spaceflight capabilities. Instead, he faced a coordinated armada that had been preparing for his arrival for decades. "Open communications to the human fleet," Vex commanded, his voice barely steady. For the first time in his reign, the Emperor of 47 star systems was facing the possibility of defeat. The response came immediately from Admiral Kane himself. "This is Admiral Kane of the Earth Defense Force. Emperor Vex," he demanded. "Our surrender 30 days ago. We've decided to offer you a counter-proposal. Withdraw from our system immediately, and we'll allow your fleet to return home with the knowledge that humanity is not to be trifled with. Continue this aggression, and you'll discover why humans don't make good slaves." Around the Emperor, his bridge crew awaited orders, but the situation had moved far beyond anything their tactical doctrine could address. The Dominion Empire was about to learn what happened when they encountered a species that had turned preparation and adaptation into art forms. The silence stretched across space as Emperor Vex weighed his options, surrounded by a human armada that had materialized as if from nothing. His tactical officers ran calculation after calculation, but every scenario ended with the same conclusion. The Dominion fleet was outnumbered, outgunned, and facing technology they didn't understand. "Your Majesty," General Korth whispered urgently, "perhaps we should consider a strategic withdrawal. We can return with reinforcements once we understand their capabilities." Vex's pride warred with military pragmatism as he stared at the tactical display. 47 conquered star systems had taught him that superior force always prevailed. But the humans had just demonstrated that preparation and cunning could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. Admiral Kane watched the alien fleet from his command center, noting the hesitation in their formation. Captain Ross reported ready status from the Defiance, while Major Bell's fighters maintained perfect attack positions throughout the enemy fleet. The gravity weapon installations stood ready to tear the Dominion ships apart at the molecular level. "Admiral," Commander Park announced, "we're detecting communications traffic between the enemy vessels. Internal military channels are showing significant debate among their commanders." Kane nodded, understanding that the next few minutes would determine whether this confrontation ended with strategic victory or total destruction. "Open a channel to Emperor Vex. Let's give him one more chance to make the intelligent choice." The communication link crackled to life, carrying Kane's voice directly to the alien emperor. "Your Majesty, your scouts underestimated us because we allowed them to. Your intelligence networks failed to detect our preparations because we didn't want them detected. Your empire has conquered 47 star systems, but you've never faced humanity." Vex activated his own transmission, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. "Admiral Kane, your species has revealed unexpected capabilities. But the first command the largest fleet in this sector of the galaxy. Even if you destroy these ships, others will come. The Dominion Empire does not accept defeat." Kane's response carried the cold certainty of absolute confidence. "Your Majesty, these ships represent less than 30% of humanity's current military capability. The installations you see around you are our defensive systems. Our offensive fleet is currently positioning itself around your home system, prepared to demonstrate what happens when someone threatens Earth." The statement hit the alien command deck like a physical blow. General Korth frantically activated deep space sensors, scanning for the human forces that Kane claimed were already threatening the heart of the Dominion Empire. "Impossible," Vex breathed, but his sensors were already confirming the Admiral's words. Stealth signatures were appearing throughout Dominion space, revealing the presence of human vessels that had somehow traveled hundreds of light years without detection. Captain Morris commanded the Deep Strike Fleet from the bridge of the Retribution, humanity's most advanced stealth battleship. His forces had been in position around the Dominion capital for 3 days, waiting for the Emperor's decision. If Vex chose continued aggression, the Empire's home worlds would face the same tactical demonstration that had just surrounded their primary fleet. "Admiral," Morris transmitted through quantum-encrypted channels, "Deep Strike Force reports. Ready. We can have the Dominion capital under siege within minutes of your order." Back in Sol System, Dr. Wells made final adjustments to the gravity weapon network, preparing to demonstrate humanity's ultimate tactical advantage. The installations could create gravitational anomalies that would crush enemy vessels or fling them into distant space, weapons that operated on principles the Dominion couldn't counter. "Your Majesty," Kane continued, 20 years ago, we detected the first signals from your empire's expansion. Instead of panicking or attempting futile diplomatic contact, humanity did what humans do best: we prepared. Every species you conquered taught us lessons about your tactics. Every intercepted communication revealed weaknesses in your technology. Every act of aggression against innocent civilizations motivated us to ensure you would never threaten Earth." Emperor Vex found himself facing a reality that challenged everything he understood about galactic power dynamics. The primitive species he had intended to crush had spent 2 decades turning his own expansion into a weapon against him. "We could destroy your fleet right now," Kane said quietly. "We could reduce your capital worlds to rubble before your reinforcements could respond. But humanity prefers a different approach. Withdraw your forces from our system, end your aggressive expansion, and the Dominion Empire can continue to exist. Continue threatening humanity or any other peaceful species, and you'll discover that we've prepared responses for every level of escalation." The Emperor looked around his command deck, seeing the fear in his officers' eyes as they processed the impossible situation. The species they had come to conquer had outmaneuvered them completely, demonstrating capabilities that shouldn't exist while maintaining tactical advantages the Empire couldn't counter. "Admiral Kane," Vex said finally, his voice carrying the weight of absolute defeat, "the Dominion fleet will withdraw from your system immediately. But this matter is not concluded. Other powers in the galaxy will want to test humanity's strength." Kane's response carried the quiet confidence of a species that had just announced its arrival on the galactic stage. "Your Majesty, let them come. Humanity has spent 20 years preparing for you. We'll spend the next 20 preparing for whoever thinks they can succeed where the Dominion Empire failed." As the alien fleet began its withdrawal from Sol System, Admiral Kane activated a general transmission, that would reach every corner of the galaxy. The message was simple but unmistakable. Humanity had hidden among the stars long enough. Now, the galaxy would learn what happened when someone threatened Earth. The Doomsday Armada had served its purpose, and the age of human expansion was about to begin.